Thanks for selecting one of our TaxSlayer Pro training videos. In this video, we'll go over preparing a tax return with the TaxSlayer Pro desktop version. In this video, we're going to prepare an early season simple tax return. We're going to mark our client head of household filing status. Our client has a dependent with daycare expenses. Our client also qualifies for the Earned Income Tax Credit, and we're going to mark the return for electronic filing. I'm here at the opening screen of the TaxSlayer desktop version, and I have a few options in beginning a new tax return from this main screen. I can click on the Tax Returns button. I can click on menu option number 1, Tax Returns, or if my hands stay on the keyboard, I can simply enter the number 1 in the Enter option dialog box. What I'm going to do is just go ahead and click on the Tax Returns button. This is going to open the 7216 Consent to Use information, but for this example, I'll just answer no to printing the consent form. The program now takes me to my client list. I can sort this client list according to these headings, either by last name or by social security number or any other heading, simply by left-clicking on the heading. Now I prefer my clients sorted by last name so that I can easily find them. Now the program has asked me to enter my client's social security number to start a new return. So I'm going to click in this field and enter my client's social security number. I'm now asked if I wish to create a new return. I'm going to answer yes for this client, but if I were a TaxSlayer Pro user last year and I had prepared this client's return using the TaxSlayer software last year, the question would be a little different. The question would ask if I wish to pull this client's information forward from the previous year's return. For this video, I'm going to assume this is a new client and will answer yes to the question that I wish to create a new tax return. Next, we're asked to select a filing status for our client. The first part of the program takes us through somewhat of an interview process. So imagine if you had a 1040 form lying on your desk. I'm at the top portion of the 1040. So as I said, we're going to select Head of Household for this client. And now I'm asked to enter my client's personal information. Now, in the interest of saving a little bit of time, I've already entered this client's information. I had to re-enter the social security number as a check, and I've entered the date of birth, the address, and other heading information on the 1040. When you enter a client's zip code, the city and the state information will automatically fill. I've entered 2 phone numbers for my client, and I'm also going to capture his email address at this point so that I can maintain contact with him throughout the year. This will also help me to build a marketing database for my tax office. I'll click the OK button, and I'm now at what I call a pause to review screen. Here, I can review my input to make sure that everything is correct, particularly the spelling on my client's last name. I don't want his return to reject due to an incorrect social security number or incorrect spelling. Now we're working our way down the 1040 form, and once I exit the personal information menu, I'm asked if I wish to enter dependents. Since we've selected Head of Household as our filing status for this return, I'll need to enter dependents information, so I'm going to answer this question yes. Once I do that, I'm presented with a dialog box. Now you'll see this style of dialog box throughout the desktop program with these buttons typically down below: New, Edit, Delete, Other, and Exit. And I'm going to click the New button and enter my dependents information. Now here, I've entered my dependents information, first name, middle initial, last name, and notice here that if my dependent's last name is the same as the taxpayer, I can save myself a few keystrokes and simply hit the Enter key, which will automatically fill in the dependent's last name. Now I want to be careful with the date of birth and the Social Security number and make sure that they're correct so that my return doesn't reject when it's electronically filed. Now I'm going to select Son from the drop-down box, and I'm going to leave the number of months that the dependent lived in the home at 12. But we do have other options in the drop-down boxes if we need them. When I click the OK button at this point, the program recognizes that because of my dependent's age, or the client's dependent's age, that the dependent may qualify my client for a dependent care credit. So we're going to say that my client's dependent does qualify for this credit, so I'm going to enter an amount that my client paid to the daycare center for the year. Once I press the Enter key, the program asks me, have I determined that the taxpayer has not released the claim for Jeremy to another person? So I will answer this question, yes. And I now have the opportunity to once again review the information for my client's dependent, make sure that everything is correct, and once I exit this menu, I'm back to the dialog box for the dependent where I originally began. And here I can enter another dependent, highlight Jeremy's information and edit his information if necessary, delete his information, but for this example, I'll just go ahead and select the Exit button. Now, because I've entered an amount that my client paid to a daycare provider, the program asks me would I like to enter the child care provider's information. Now I'm going to answer yes to this question. And here's this familiar dialog box again. I'll click New. I've entered the daycare provider's information, the employer identification number, name, address, and I need to re-enter the amount that I originally put for the daycare expenses. And I want to make sure that this amount matches what I previously entered for Jeremy. Once I click OK, I have an opportunity to review the information for the daycare. I can exit, and just as with the dependent menu, I could enter another daycare provider if I needed to, edit the information for the Sunshine House, or simply exit to the next menu. After exiting the daycare provider input menu, we now need to answer the questions concerning the Affordable Care Act. Did you have minimum essential health care coverage for yourself, your spouse if filing jointly, and anyone you could or did claim as a dependent? For purposes of this training video, we'll answer yes, indicating that my client had minimum essential health care coverage, and no to the question asking if my client received his coverage from the marketplace or healthcare.gov. We're now at the Personal Information menu, where I can review the client's heading information that I've entered so far. We can review the name and address, dependents, filing status, healthcare coverage questions, and make any changes if necessary. Once I exit the Personal Information menu, we're asked if we wish to enter the client's W-2. I'll answer yes to this question. And this takes us to our familiar dialog box, and I'll click the New button to begin entering this client's W-2 information from the hard copy of his W-2 exactly as I see it. I've entered our client's W-2 information, and so now I'll exit the W-2 input screen. And again, just as we've seen before, if I had another W-2, I would click the New button. I could highlight this W-2, select the Edit button if I needed to make changes, I can delete this W-2 if I need to, but for purposes of this video, we'll exit to the next screen. We're now at the income menu, and at this point, if my client had any other income from any other source, I would want to go ahead and input that into the program. Our client has no other income other than his W-2, so we'll exit the income menu. The program has recognized that because of our client's income and the fact that he has a dependent, that our client may qualify for the Earned Income Tax Credit. So now we must satisfy the EIC Due Diligence Checklist menu. First, we'll answer the due diligence questions for all taxpayers. Was the taxpayer a non-resident alien for any part of the year? No. Have I determined that this taxpayer is in fact eligible to claim the EIC for the number of children for whom the EIC is claimed, or to claim EIC if the taxpayer has no qualifying child? I'll answer yes to this question. Did I explain to the taxpayer that he or she may not claim the EIC if the taxpayer has not lived with the child for over half the year, even if the taxpayer has supported the child? I'll answer yes to this question. Did I explain to the taxpayer the rules about claiming the Earned Income Tax Credit when a child is the qualifying child of more than one person? Yes. Now we move on. The due diligence questions for the taxpayer who has a qualifying child. I select that menu option. Does Jeremy qualify another person for the Earned Income Credit? No. So we now have Jeremy qualified. Finally, I'm going to move down to the Form 8867, the due diligence questions. Did I complete the return based on information provided by the taxpayer or reasonably obtained by me? Yes, I did. Did I interview the taxpayer, ask adequate questions, and document the taxpayer's responses to determine that the taxpayer is indeed eligible to claim the credit? Before I answer yes to this question, what I could do at any time is press the F8 key for notes and enter due diligence notes as I go along to document my my client's responses. Click the OK button, and now I can answer this question yes. Did any information provided by the taxpayer, a third party, or reasonably known to me in connection with preparing the return appear to be incorrect? We definitely want to answer no. Did I satisfy the record retention requirement? Yes. Did I ask the taxpayer whether he or she could provide documentation to substantiate eligibility? Yes. Did I ask the taxpayer if any credits were disallowed or reduced in a prior year? Yes, I did. And were any of these credits disallowed or reduced? No. Did I certify that all answers on this form are, to the best of my knowledge, true, correct, and complete? Yes. So I now have my 8867 due diligence questions answered, and I have my due diligence notes attached to the return. I can exit this menu. I'm back at the EIC information edit screen. I've completed all the requirements, and I'm going to exit this menu. And we're now at the client's 1040 screen. From the 1040 screen, I could view my client's federal refund in real time at any point in the process. I can scroll up and down on the 1040 to add information or make any changes to the return that I needed to. In other words, if I needed to add interest to the return, I could simply double-click Online 8A, or I can use the menus from the program, the Income menu, the Adjustments menu if I needed to enter any adjustments to the return. Again, there's a couple of ways that you can maneuver on this screen, from the menu options or from the 1040 form itself, simply by double-clicking on the line that you need to change or add information to. But what I'm going to do at this point is to mark the return for electronic filing. So what I'm going to do is select option number 12, Mark Return Electronic, and I'll choose Electronic Mail Check for my client. Click the OK button, and I'll exit the Practitioner Pin menu. The pins are automatically generated by the program. I can view or print the Form 8879, the IRS e-file signature authorization. If I needed to, I could remove the client from e-filing at this point. So we've now marked the federal return for electronic filing. So now we're ready to exit this tax return. Once I exit the client's 1040 screen, I'm now at the receipt menu. On the receipt menu, my preparation fee has automatically calculated from the fees that I entered into my fee table as I was setting up my initial configuration in the program. I could change these fees on the fly if I needed to. I can also enter a client's payment on this screen. I can view and edit an invoice, or if I needed to enter more information into the client's return, I could edit the client's return and go back to the 1040 screen. For this client, we'll exit the receipt menu, and the program asks me, am I ready to mark the return as complete and ready for transmission? Now I'm going to answer yes to this question, but what this question means is the program is simply going to place the return on my electronic filing table and make it ready for my next electronic transmission. It has not locked down the return. If my client called me up and had more information, another W-2, a 1099-R, something that we needed to change on the return, I could do that. But I'm going to answer this question yes, and go ahead and place this return on my electronic filing table so that when I get ready to file my returns, this client's return will be there. Because I've got the premium package, the TaxSlayer Pro premium package, I could print this return to PDF, and it will save a PDF copy into the client's folder on my hard drive. So I'm now back at my client list. I could begin a new client's return, or I could go ahead and electronically file the return that we just prepared. We'll go through that process. So to electronically file the client's return that we just prepared, I'm back at the main menu of the program. I'm going to select the Efile Returns button. This takes me to the eFile main menu. I'm going to select option number 1, Transmit Electronic Return. My client's return is showing up in the transmission table, so I'm going to select the Transmit button. The program asks me, do I wish to have a printed list of the clients selected to be sent to the IRS? I would definitely want to do this. This is the first leg of my paper trail so that I can keep up with what's going out the door. This brings up my TaxSlayer Pro communication screen. I'll click Connect. And I'm told that I may now exit this window once my return has been sent successfully. I now have some reports to print, so I'm going to select option number 3, and it's important to note that I cannot send any more tax returns. I cannot electronically transmit any more tax returns until I print off all of my reports that are indicated by these arrows. The most important report you'll get is the transmission confirmation. This tells me that TaxSlayer did indeed receive the transmission for my client. The transmission confirmation report did print correctly, so I'll answer yes. I can now exit the eFile print menu, and I'll exit the eFile main menu. I'm back at the main opening screen of the TaxSlayer program, and then 24 to 48 hours later, I'll select Efile Returns, and I'll select the option to receive acknowledgments only. I'll select the Connect button, and if I have any IRS acknowledgments, I'll pick those up. We want to thank you for watching the TaxSlayer training video, Preparing a Tax Return with the TaxSlayer Pro desktop version.